The Cultural Revolution and the process from our current state through transfer culture to gold culture is in fact the Cultural Revolution. The present task of any party organizer is to transform the New African masses' pride movements, these ideas of pride in one's cultural identity, into a revolutionary movement. That's literally the process of the Cultural Revolution. Forums and workshops have to be established on New African artists' direct contribution to the revolution and how he or she can serve as an instrument to translate New African pride into New African revolutionary ideological symbols. When we speak of having pride in our culture, we are actually talking about developing a national consciousness, one that embraces New African revolutionary nationalist principles as the principles which guide life. Now more than ever, a clear statement on the objectives and purpose of the New African Revolution has to be made. There must be a definition of the goals and objectives of the Cultural Revolution. The role of the Cultural Revolution is to uproot and destroy the old oppressive Negro mindset, the old oppressive African American society, and to bring in new values, new morals, a new perspective on what a society can be. Differences between cultural nationalists and so-called revolutionary nationalists must be spelled out, and we've done that on multiple occasions. The Cultural Revolution is not an end unto itself. I stated this before. I articulated this in the piece on gold culture. There are some cultural nationalists who place too much emphasis on culture and not enough emphasis on political organizing, on economic organizing, on military organizing, on social organizing, on the goal. And that's a problem. There's a difference between bourgeois cultural nationalism and New African revolutionary cultural nationalism. Y'all need to understand that. Many cultural nationalists just adapt forms from Africa and put them on us right here in the United States, calling this re-Africanization. That's not cultural revolution. All right. Re-Africanization is a living and protracted process which will come about from revolutionary political struggle. And people need to understand that. I think probably one of the most salient statements that has been articulated on this particular point was made by Comrade Frantz Fanon. Frantz Fanon broke down what happens during a cultural revolution. I'm going to give you a quote from him that basically encapsulates this idea in a simple paragraph. The people that has lost its birthright, that is used to living in the narrow circle of feuds and rivalries, will now proceed in an atmosphere of solemnity to cleanse and purify the face of the nation. In a veritable collective ecstasy, families, which have always been traditional enemies, decide to rub out old scores and to forgive and forget. There are numerous reconciliations. Long buried but unforgettable hatreds are brought to light once more so that they may be more surely rooted out. The talk of the people becomes nationhood. Nationhood involves a growth of awareness. The national unity is first the unity of a group. The disappearance of old quarrels is the final liquidation of unspoken grievances. In undertaking this onward march toward national liberation, the people wills itself to sovereignty. Solidarity between tribes and villages, national solidarity, is in the first place expressed by the increasing blows struck at the enemy state. That is the Cultural Revolution, encapsulated succinctly in a single paragraph. The common will of the party cannot be created without a successful, functional, cultural revolutionary apparatus. That means the songs we sing should be about getting free and how we gonna do it. The art that we paint should depict us victorious. The movies that we make should celebrate our historic path toward a new nation. The Cultural Revolution should embrace as its core value a new nation where we actually run it, where we actually prosper from our labor, where we love one another, and we do so fiercely and unconditionally. This is the Cultural Revolution. The tendency should be avoid, by all means, those values, mores, and expressions which seek to belittle us, which depict us as defeated and our oppressors victorious. All cultural nationalists are not good. Y'all need to understand that. Some are. Some helped to develop the new African political consciousness while others impeded. The counter-revolutionary element of cultural nationalism is probably best represented by that dude, Ron Karenga. He thrived on the bourgeois concept of personality cult. And he made deals with the power structure that got a lot of good brothers killed. These cultural tendencies, just because they look African, cats beating on the drum, called by Harambe, ain't gonna free us. That's not cultural revolution. Cultural revolution destroys any force that seeks to oppress us. In its every expression, it shows us free, prosperous, liberated, in power, and loving one another. Though well structured and organized, most bourgeois fascist nationalists are just that, bourgeois fascist nationalists, running around with dashikis on. That's a dangerous tendency, and you shouldn't be confused by it. The Cultural Revolution, while producing revolutionary heroes, should never fall into the trap of bourgeois hero worship. It's dangerous, and it's contrary to our values and mores. The Cultural Revolution should lead to a collective mind and the development of collective leadership. Revolutionary symbols will play an important part in the development of our revolutionary consciousness. Those values and practices, those mannerisms and ways and modes of interacting with social life, which supported our oppression. These are the things that we seek to eradicate during the Cultural Revolution and replace them. We're not simply removing something and leaving a void. We are replacing it with a new way of life. Principles for collective life is what we seek to replace it with. When we use the term principles of collective life, what we're speaking of is revolutionary scientific socialism, NARN, where we genuinely love one another and we genuinely love humanity, where we genuinely love this world. And what we do on a day-to-day basis reflects it, not in word, but through our actions and deeds, through what we do, through the art we create, through the songs that we sing, to the images that we produce, to how we walk down the street, to how we hug our woman, to how we treat our mom, to how we strengthen our little brothers and our little sisters, how we seek to create a new world. That's the cultural revolution. It should touch every walk of life. Everything, which is culture. Think on these things as they're cause for great meditation.